Imagine being told that a food item that encapsulates an entire food group and that 6 billion people drink regularly, was not only not as healthy as you thought it was, but it was also actively harming you. That's a problem that milk faces today because recent studies have shown that milk might not be as good as you thought it was and could not even be consumable by the human body. As someone who lives an active lifestyle, I'm going to use my prior knowledge and some further research to use this as an opportunity to educate myself and others. And what I want to educate you guys on is that although milk has some advantages, it also has some downsides. And there are multiple different variations and alternatives that you can replace milk with in your diet. So I'm going to be talking about today the advantages of milk, the disadvantages of milk, and all the alternatives you can replace it with. Let's start with all the advantages of milk. Milk has a lot of vitamins in it. 25% of the daily recommended intake of calcium, phosphorus, vitamin D, and B2 can be found in 1 cup of milk. Also, according to the NLM, milk has a lot of protein and fatty acids in it, and those fatty acids show a lower risk of heart disease and diabetes in adults. And according to Healthline, depending on how much grass the cow eats, that milk can have tons of beta carotene and vitamin E minerals inside, which shows a lower risk of inflammation. On that, not only is there a lot of protein in milk, but there's also like high quality protein. What I mean by high quality protein is that each protein has 9 amino acids in them, and those amino acids help you grow and build your muscle and bones. And just to show how much protein there is in milk, a cup of milk has 8 grams of protein. That's as much as 1 cup of quinoa and 2 ounces of salmon. But going back to the amino acids, the 2 biggest proteins, or the 2 biggest amounts of proteins that are in milk are whey protein and casein. Now, according to Dr. Nahete of the NIH, casein is used with your body to repair and build muscle, while whey protein builds and repairs muscles, but also helps you stay full, helps you gain weight, and also helps you keep you regular. And according to P.F. Fox's book, Advanced Dairy Chemistry, Volume 3, not only does milk have tons of calcium in it, which is what milk is known for, but also that calcium is much more soluble than other sources of calcium. So that means instead of it going through you, the calcium that you gain from milk is going to stay within your body in your bones, which helps you build your bones. So because of this, many studies have shown that the more milk you consume, the less likely you're going to have osteoporosis when you grow up, which is kind of like arthritis. Arthritis. So here are some. Now I'm going to continue to all the bad things that milk is known for. According to Healthline, 65% of people in the entire world are lactose intolerant, which means they can't consume lactate, which is lactose, which is a sugar in milk, and that causes a lot of stomach issues. So not a lot of people can drink milk actually. Along that, 5% of children have milk allergies, which causes bloody stool, diarrhea, vomiting, and hives. Now you can gain milk allergies in your adulthood, or you can lose them when you start to grow up. But just saying that milk allergies can just come and go within your life. Along that, Dr. Li Chen, a dermatologist, had discovered that because milk plays with some of your hormones in your body, such as insulin, the more milk you consume, according to her, the more acne you get. Now that same logic is applied to the reason why so many people have harsher versions of eczema and rosacea, like a skin rash on your face, when they start to consume a lot of milk. And that same reasoning is actually why a lot of types of cancer, such as ovarian cancer and prostate cancer, the risk of those types of cancers are actually increased the more milk you consume, because it plays with your hormones a lot. And one of the biggest twists I found while researching this is that there are actually some recent studies that show that milk actually harms your bones. According to the BMJ, a lot of women actually report having a more likelier chance of breaking bones because there's a sugar called um, D-galactose in milk, which causes induced aging of the heart and bone inflammation, which leads to breaking your bones more. And also, osteoporosis is actually higher in places where more milk is consumed. The thing about these studies is that they're kind of the only studies that kind of prove that milk is bad for your bones. But the reason why these studies are such a big deal is that it proves that there is no surefire answer as to whether milk is good for you or bad for you. There's always like this kind of toss-up. So this has led many people to try to find alternatives to milk, which is what I'm going to discuss now. Because there was an interview done by the New York Times to Alicia Romano, a dietitian, and she found that a lot of people try to find alternatives to milk. They usually go for soy milk because soy milk has equal amounts of calories, vitamin D, vitamin B2, and many other vitamins and minerals of dairy milk. Not only that, but soy milk has less fat. In fact, most other plant-based milks have less fat than dairy milk because dairy milk is fed to a cow, which they require more fat to build more muscle. Not only that, oat milk has as much fiber and calories as regular dairy milk, but the problem with oat milk is that it has less protein. In fact, one of the downsides about using a plant-based milk instead of dairy milk is that plant-based milk has a lot less protein in it. But what some people do, according to Miss Romano over here, is that they actually blend protein-rich fruits into their plant-based milk, such as strawberries, bananas, papayas, guava fruit, because those make up for the lack of protein found in the milk. Now, what a lot of people do if they don't want to replace it with dairy milk is they find lactase-free dairy milk, such as Lactaid. That's a product that doesn't have any lactase in it, but it's still dairy milk. Anyway, so what I've shown to you today is that all in all, dairy milk has a lot of advantages, but also has a lot of disadvantages. Like all food that we consume, there's always like pros and cons of it. But the problem with milk is that it's been known as a superfood for all this time, and now we're realizing that it's suddenly not as good for us as we once thought. So not only is the superfood label being kind of fabricated away, but also its room in our nutritional system. So today I've showed you the advantages, the disadvantages, and the alternatives of modern dairy milk. And thank you for listening to my speech. And if there's one thing you take away from this speech is that always progress with your scientific research, because something that was healthy for you yesterday could be hurtful for you today.